All right, I will say good morning. Good morning. So I figured just before we Emerta Hashem begin the daf, just spend a few moments today. Gimel Elul is the yard site of Harav Avram Yitzchak HaKohen Kook. And Rav Kook, of course, again, was the chief rabbi before there was a state of Israel. Rav Kook, but Rav Kook is one of the primary thinkers who is responsible for so much of, we'll call it contemporary religious Zionist thought. And Rav Kook was someone who was able to synthesize so many different worlds. The world ultimately, again, of being an incredible and overwhelming Talmud Chacham, at the same time being someone who was steeped in Torah Sachasidus, and someone who represented just a profound worldview, a man who was so suffused and infused with exceptional avas d'Yisrael, an ability to love each and every Jew, see the good in every Jew, and see the tachlis, the purpose that every single Jew plays in the greater world, or in the greater, I'll call it Jewish communal landscape. So I wanted to do one short piece. If you look on the page that I sent you, it's on the WhatsApp chat, and I also made there are a couple of physical copies over here as well. So this actually, a couple of years ago, they came out with a Rav Kook's Torah on the Chumash. And what they did is Rav Kook wrote a number of different svarim. And again, somebody collected the different pieces, put on the psukim. So he has such a beautiful piece over here in Bereshis. So if you take a look, this is on page, it says page 24 on the top. On the right-hand column, the second paragraph in, where it says Bereshis bara Elokim. Literally second paragraph in. So Rav Kook is commenting on the opening pasuk in the Torah. Bereshis bara Elokim es hashamayim bi es haaretz. In the beginning, Hashem created the shamayim, the heavens, and the aretz. And Rav Kook makes such an amazing and beautiful observation. The Rav writes, he says, Yisod habriya ushleimusa talui b'shleimos ha'anava. Rav Kook writes that literally the foundation of creation and the completion of creation is fundamentally rooted in the midah, in the attribute of humility. What does this mean? And Rav Kook says something, V'amru chazal b'medrash rabbah al-pasuk, Bereshis bara Elokim. So again, we look at the opening pasuk of the Chumash. In the beginning, Hashem created, Hahu dichsev va'anavasecha tarbeini. Literally, again, the pasuk says, it exemplifies the pasuk that ultimately your humility shall be amplified. What does this mean? B'noeg sheba'olam melech basar v'dam maskir shmo v'achar maskir ma'asov. You know, the way it works in the world, a human king first, ultimately, again, will mention his name, right? Name comes first, and then after his name, there'll be a discussion of his actions. Aval HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Hiskir Ma'asov, v'achar kach Hiskir Shmo. But the Ribono Shalom, what happens? First, he discusses his actions, and then only afterwards is his name mentioned. Shemitzat ha'anova, he said, so what is Rav Kook referring to over here? If you look at the pasuk, interestingly enough, it says, Bereshis bara Elokim. In other words, in the beginning, Hashem created. So first there's a mention of creation, and then there's a mention of Hashem's name. Says Rav Kook, it's so interesting, because in the world, normally a king would first mention his name, and then ultimately again, then he would mention what he did. But Ribono Shalom, first there's a mention of creation, and then there's a mention of Hashem's name. So Rav Kook says something amazing. I'll just point out parenthetically, the Gemara Maseches Megillah, that talks about the story of Ptolemy. Remember again, King Ptolemy, who commissioned the writing of the Septuagint, right? Who went ahead and gathered the 72 elders, went ahead and had them translate the Torah into Greek. So the Gemara discusses a number of changes that all of them made together. The first Baruch HaKodesh, the first change they made was they changed Bereshis bara Elokim to Elokim bara Bereshis. Now, the reason they did that, the Gemara says, was because they were concerned that when Ptolemy saw this, he would think that Bereshis was a deity. Bereshis bara Elokim. In the beginning, right, this deity called Bereshis went ahead and created Elokim. To avoid any notion of dualism or of polytheism, they changed it to Elokim bara Bereshis. But it's also interesting that according to Rav Kook, it could be they changed it to Elokim bara bereshis, because also that's the language that Ptolemy spoke, right? In the language of the kings of the world, honor comes before accomplishment. First write the name, then you could write the accomplishment. In the world of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and by extension the world of a Jew, first comes accomplishment, then comes honor. Now Rav Kook understands this. If you look at the end, he says, Aval HaKadosh mitzad shaha'anova he yisod kol hashleimos shel tachlis habriya, because anova, because humility is ultimately again at the foundation of all of creation. Ramzuhu yis'al b'pesach divrei Torasenu hakidosha. Ultimately, again, the Rebbeinu Shalom makes reference to this notion of humility at the beginning, at the opening of creation. So I will say, was very taken by this idea. So what Rav Kook is highlighting is that the Torah already, the whole importance of the Torah, not the whole importance, but part of the dynamic of the Torah is that it teaches us midos. It teaches us proper conduct. It teaches us proper behaviors. It says Rav Kook, what's the first lesson in midos that the Torah Akidosha teaches us? Anava, humility. Humility. That ultimately the Moshe models for us humility. And I will say, how does humility manifest itself? The greatest manifestation of humility is life is not about getting your name in lights. Life is not about personal recognition. Life is not about advancing your name or your identity. What is life about? Life is about accomplishment. Now again, often through accomplishment, your name becomes known. That's fine. But at the end of the day, the great hallmark of your life is, what did you accomplish? What did you do? So the Rebbeinu Shalom says, the most important way to open up the Torah is not with my name. The most important way to open up the Torah is, what did I accomplish? And what did I, as HaKadosh Baruch Hu, accomplish? Bereshis bara. The first thing you need to know about me is that I'm a builder. The first thing you need to know about me is that I'm a doer. The first thing you need to know about me is that I'm a borei. I am a creator. Oh, my name? My name is Elokim. And I will say, what a incredible and profound yesod for us. Because all too often we go through life, consciously or subconsciously, looking for the kavod, looking for the recognition, right? Looking for the acknowledgement. I want people to call me this, I want people to know this, I want my name to be here. And again, kavod, that every human beings naturally crave kavod. But lamaisa, more important than honor is accomplishment. What's most important in life is not who knows your name. What's most important in life is, what have you created? What have you built? How have you accomplished? We'll stop over here for today. Beautiful Torah by Rav Kook. Me'as Hashem the schos of us learning the Torah of the tzaddik is neshama shtaf and aliyah, and he should be an incredible advocate, a melis yosha for all of